أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ به تعالى من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. وعنده مفاتح الغيب لا يعلمها إلا هو ويعلم ما في البر والبحر وما تسقط من ورقة إلا يعلمها ولا حبة في ظلمات الأرض ولا رطب ولا يابس إلا في كتاب مبين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له الملك الحق المبين. وأشهد أن سيدنا وحبيبنا وأسوتنا ومعلمنا محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله فبلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الغمة وجاهد في سبيل هذا الدين حتى أتاه اليقين. ربنا فاجزه عنا وعن والدينا وعن الإسلام والمسلمين خير ما جزيت به نبيا عن أمته ورسولا عن قومه. اللهم أحينا على سنته وأمتنا على ملته. اللهم احشرنا في زمرته وتحت رايته ولا تفرق بيننا وبينه يوم القيامة حتى تدخلنا من حيث يدخل. وارزقنا اللهم صحبته في الجنة برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين كما آمنا به ولم نره. وبعد عباد الله، إن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تبارك وتعالى، وإن خير الهدي هدي سيدنا محمد بن عبد الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. وإن شر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. إن الله تبارك وتعالى أراد لعباده الخير كله بأن وضع فيهم فطرة تجده سبحانه وتعالى إذا أعملها الإنسان. Allah تبارك وتعالى put on each one of us, in each person, a nature, an innate ability to find your way to Allah. First, Allah has created us to seek a deity. Every human being is looking for a God. It's nature. It's how Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala created us, so can we look for Him. So then Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala made the good deeds, truthfulness, honesty, trustworthiness, all of these more liked and more beloved to each human being than the other way around. So that when you see the values of Islam, you recognize that this is the right thing because it is the right thing. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala did not leave us to our devices at that point, but Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has sent a messenger after a messenger after a messenger, and every time humanity deviate away from the route that it was planned for it to find the way to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, Allah sends another messenger yet. until Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala concluded with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, his favorite messenger. Therefore, when we live our lives in this world as Muslims and as mu'mins, and when we have just a month ago, we tasted that beautiful sweetness of faith, of practicing Iman, of reading the Quran, of praying at night and giving for the sake of Allah and fasting during the day. And months later, we look to how we're doing. Are we still on the same path that Allah wanted for us? Are we still seeking Allah's pleasure that Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala wanted us to live for and live by? As long as we don't realize that this life is not the destiny and it is only a pathway to eternity where you're going to live forever, as long as you think that if this body perishes, you perish too, then you cannot, and I repeat, you cannot put yourself on the path, because you can only take that path if you look at the higher goal, and the higher goal is Jannah, and Jannah can only be collected by the pleasure of Allah, when we please Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. So 1 month later, did we go backward, or did we take that potential that we have seen that we can reach? Or did we take that initial power that we've established in Ramadan along the way to reach a higher level every month? So when we hit Ramadan next year, inshallah, may Allah give you and me the life to hit the next Ramadan, then you hit the ground running better than what you did this year. Are we building on Ramadan, or did we let it fall? I want to discuss with you the ma'asi that we do and what it does to us, and what would be the alternatives if we leave them, if we avoid them. Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala says, ما أصاب من مصيبة فبما كسبت أيدي الناس فبما كسبت أيديكم ما أصابكم من مصيبة فبما كسبت أيديكم ويعفو عن كثير. الشورى الآية 3. So if you feel depressed and you start looking for a counsel or looking for a pills, seek the treatment that science recommends, but you're hurting because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing here. If you go buy a machine and the machine comes with the guidelines of the equipment, how to use it and what you use it for, and you take the book and you never look at it, and then you keep doing whatever you like with that device, this device is not going to be happy, and before you know it, the device will be broken. If we're broken, it's because we put the book aside. We did not read the book that came with us. And the book says, stay in good terms with Allah. Basic. Ma'asi. Disobeying Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, doing haram, doing the wrong things, tremendously affect us more than we realize. قال ابن عباس إن معصية الله ظلمة في الوجه وحرج في الصدر ووهن في البدن وبغض في قلوب العباد. So if you are complaining of weakness in your body, that's what Ibn Abbas said, Ma'asi inherits this pain. How many people healed their pains by just praying and asking Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala in their dua to heal them, and they heal. ظلمة في الوجه. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and his Sahaba used to recognize people when they walk in, whether they praying on time or not, because he can see it in their face. If you're missing your prayers, there is darkness that shadows your face. Only a believer, only some person who is close to Allah can see it. But it is there. And if you have this narrow chest and unhappy heart, it's because of something you've done. That's what the Quran says. I don't come up with that. I don't make that up. Anything that hurts you in any way, it's because of something you've done, and Allah forgives the majority of what we do. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not actually take us by everything we do, because if He does, وَلَوْ يُؤَاخِذُ اللَّهُ النَّاسَ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَلَوْ يُؤَاخِذُ اللَّهُ النَّاسَ بِظُلْمِهِمْ مَا تَرَكَ عَلَيْهَا مِنْ دَابَّةٍ. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala held us accountable for every mistake we make, it would be wiped out. There wouldn't be even animals. ما ترك عليها من دابة. Allah يعفو عن كثير, well, like He said. ضيق في الرزق. Ibn Abbas says, you complaining because you can't make ends meet. As long as you think that what you have, whether it was money, family, or property, or whatever you have, is because you worked hard for it, then you will be always miserable about it, because you never have enough. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam teaches us that it is critical that we believe that everything we have, everything we get, every rizq that comes to us is from Him. We know the knowledge. If you ask a child 7 years old who's been attending the Islamic school in the masjid, who gives the rizq? It says Allah. We know the information. Kid, what about lying? It's haram. But he turns around and lies. What we know is stored somewhere else in our brains, away from the actions, away from the things that we do. We need to work according to what we know. You don't need so much to know in order to work, but you need to work according to what you already know. Lying is haram. End of the story, don't lie. Haram, it's ma'siyah. We lie left and right. When all people come in the day of judgment and looking for shafa'ah, and they go to Adam, and they go to Nuh, and they go to Ibrahim, when they get to Ibrahim, he says, I lied 3 times in my life. And he lied the 3 times. Lies were for the sake of the da'wah, or to save his own life. He did not make a lie to make an extra earning. 3 lies in his life, and he says, I'm not eligible for the shafa'ah. The 3 lies we say him in 5 minutes. You and I. Not in a lifetime. But we don't realize how heavy it weighs. And that's because of the tremendous weight of ma'siyah that we have. A believer that fears Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala and hopes to go to Jannah, he sees, according to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, فيما رواه ابن مسعود في البخاري, كأنه في جبل يخشى أن يسقط فوقه. A believer sees his sins, his record of sins, as a huge mountain that is hovering above his head, that is about to fall on his head and crush him. A believer sees his sins like that. And it's keeping him awake at night, for asking for forgiveness, apologizing to Allah for it, hoping that Allah will wipe these records. But the one who doesn't have that good of a relationship with Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, كذباب وقع على أنفه فقال به هكذا فطار. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as if it was a fly or a mosquito, sat on his nose and he just waved it away. The person who is not really realizing the magnitude of the records of ma'asi thinks it's like a fly that falls in your face and you just say, hey, go, and it goes. Until we realize how heavy that record is on us in our daily life. I'm not saying it's going, of course, when we do ma'siyah and we don't repent and we don't ask Allah for forgiveness for it, we're going to get the consequences of the year after, but not just that. It gets you here too. Like Ibn Abbas said, ظلمة في الوجه وحرج في الصدر ووهن في البدن وضيق في الرزق وبغض في قلوب العباد. Like the hadith when Rasulullah sallam tells us that إن الله تبارك وتعالى إذا أحب عبدا قال نادى يا جبريل إني أحب فلان فأحبه فيحبه جبريل وينادي يا ملائكة الرحمن إن الله يحب فلان فأحبوه ثم توضع محبته في الأرض. If you find somebody so loved from everybody likes him, everybody loves him, there must be a relationship between him and Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala that we don't know of, or we do. And if somebody you see you don't like and everybody else is like that and you don't know why, it's because there is also a bad secret between him and Allah that he hasn't repented from. بغض في قلوب العباد. People will just don't like you and they don't know why. It's because you have this very weak thread of a relationship with Allah that it's about to break. Ma'asi does that. It weakens the connection. Disobeying Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala day in and day out, not realizing how much we're hurting our relationship with Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. It is getting hurt. With every ma'siyah, we go farther away from Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. And then what we do? What we do about that humility that comes upon us. We feel humility, we feel humiliation. The person who does a lot of ma'asi in secret or in public, he's like a humiliated person. Because why? فإن العزة لله جميعا. يقولون لئن رجعنا إلى المدينة ليخرجن الأعز منها الأذل ولله العزة ولرسوله وللمؤمنين ولكن المنافقين لا يعلمون. So dignity and izzah and self-respect is for obeying Allah, is for having that good connection, good relationship with Allah. If we lose it, we lose our dignity. Where else do you look for dignity if you don't have a relationship with Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala? Where else? My dear brothers and sisters, don't let what you built of a level of iman, You was holding the Quran, the book in your hand every day or every night, reading or listening in the car or doing this or doing that. And now you don't. How long since you held the Quran in your hand and read even one line? How long has it been after Ramadan? The Quran was revealed in the Quran in Ramadan, but it was not to be only recited in Ramadan. The Quran is for the whole year. The Quran is for the life. Every day you read something in the Quran. If you read the Quran every day, you understand, you have a new understanding. That's what Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. When you understand something, it's Allah, it's because Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has opened it up for you to understand the evidence from the Quran. فَفَهَّمْنَاهَا سُلَيْمَانَ. Sulaiman has the biggest kingdom a human being ever had. Biggest. Before him and after him, nobody after him even would have a bigger kingdom as he did. Who gave him that understanding? Was he like an entrepreneur and he was very hardworking and he read a lot of books and had 7 PhDs? No, Allah says, فَفَهَّمْنَاهَا. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala put some understanding in his heart, in his head. So he understands. Understanding is rizq. And it's from Allah. Read the Quran. The big difference. Don't miss your salah. Because you miss your salah, you follow your shahawat. It's an equation that never fails. فَخَلَفَ مِن بَعْدِهِمْ خَلْفٌ أَضَاعُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَاتَّبَعُوا الشَّهَوَاتِ. You follow your desires and whims. You become a slave of your desires because you left the salah. It's an equation. You don't keep your salah right, you become a slave of your desires. Worldly desires. Bad ones. Or good ones, doesn't matter. You do عقوق of walidain, become shaqi. عيسى ابن مريم يقول وبرا بوالدتي ولم يجعلني جبارا شقيا. If you find yourself miserable in life, look for your mother and go to her feet and make her be happy with you. Do something. If she's gone, your aunt, somebody, make something that would have made her happy in her life. Go visit something that she would have gone visit. بر الوالدين في عقبهما, of what they've left behind. Ma'asi, these are examples for how ma'asi causes big consequences. Some people say, what about all these people who have no idea what Muhammad is, what Islam is, and what and they're happy? And how do you know you're happy? They're happy. This is number one. Number two, they are not assigned an assignment in this world. They were not shown the way of Islam. If you have two people, one of whom you give an assignment and one of whom you didn't even talk to, and then they come back, who you'll punish if the assignment is not done? You have an assignment because you say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. You've been born in a Muslim family. You weren't a Muslim, but you've shown the way to Islam. Allah assigned you an assignment. So that's why He puts you in the way every time you try to derail. He will put you back. And it will be harsh. And if you going around and around and something is going wrong over and over and over, it's a lesson. It's a lesson that you're not learning. And it's going to keep going around and around until you learn the lesson. That's from experience. And from things I saw. A lot. Something goes wrong. And it keeps going wrong. It doesn't stop. It's a lesson that you have to learn. But you're not learning it. So it's going to come around again. Until you learn your lesson. My dear brothers and sisters, keep away from making sins because you have no idea how much it hurts you and hurts everybody around you. When Allah Tabarak, some people would come, some kids, from teenagers sometimes says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَقُلِ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّكُمْ فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. Allah giving you the option here. But listen, what does he say before it? واصبر نفسك مع الذين يدعون ربهم بالغداة والعشي يريدون وجهه ولا تعد عيناك عنهم تريد زينة الحياة الدنيا ولا تطع من أغفلنا قلبه عن ذكرنا واتبع هواه وكان أمره فرطا وقل الحق من ربكم. This is the truth. فمن شاء فليؤمن ومن شاء فليكفر. It's like you showing your son, this is the way that I'm going to love you and I gotta buy you a car. But go this way or go the opposite way, it's up to you. You're going to lose the car. So the same thing. Don't look that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just saying, but look at the consequences. فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. What? إِنَّا أَعْتَدْنَا لِلظَّالِمِينَ نَارًا. الظالمين, those who choose the kufr, they will be thrown in hellfire. The other one that they like to always repeat, لا إكراه في الدين. Compulsion in religion. But what does he say after that? قد تبين الرشد من الغي. It has been made clear the correct way and the wrong way. So there's no compulsion. But look, there are consequences. Go choose what you want to do. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam يقول البر لا يبلى والذنب لا ينسى والديان لا يموت افعل ما شئت كما تدين تدان. Do what you want, do what you like. You have the free will, but what you do upon people is going to be done to you. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين. وبعد عباد الله, be aware of the consequences of disobeying Allah. Allah is the king of this universe. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم إن روح القدس بث في روعي أن نفسا لن تموت حتى تستوفي رزقها وأجلها فاتقوا الله وأجملوا في الطلب ولا يحملنكم استبطاء الرزق على أن تطلبوه بمعصية الله فإن ما عند الله لا ينال بمعصيته. Rasulullah says, Jibreel has put in my conscious, in my understanding, that no soul is not going to die unless it consumes every bit of its rizq and every bit of its ajal. You're going to live every second that is yours, and you're going to drink every drop of water that is yours. You're going to take it all. Rasulullah said, be conscious of this deal of life with Allah. Taqullah wa ajmilu fi talab. And ask Allah for good things, or ask Allah for collective good for everybody. One of the two, or both. But then he says, don't make that the case that rizq is late and you feel like it's been so long and you've been praying and waiting for Allah's rizq to come and it hasn't been coming and it has been hard and it's like you've been getting your rizq through a very narrow hole in the wall. It's very tight. Don't make that go hasting into taking rizq with haram. Don't make that make you allow yourself to collect rizq from haram, because what you collect from haram is your rizq still, because you got it. If you get it, it's your rizq, halal or haram. It's what happens in the punishment and the consequences when it is haram and the word was halal, but they're both rizq. لا يحملنكم استبطاء الرزق على. Don't make that you waited for rizq so long and it come that you hasten it and you go try to get in it, to try to get it from a haram way. Because what's in the king's safe cannot be taken without his permission or by disobeying him. رزق في خزائن الله, صح? Rizq is in Allah's safe. It's very kept safe somewhere, and it is distributed with amazing accuracy, to the point that the rizq for the little ant is exactly what she was supposed to get under a little hole in the ground. Is very accurate. So don't go seek it by disobeying Allah, because Allah is in control of what He distributes. It is hard to not disobey Allah because it's very tempting life. It is very far away from a community that you will be able to do ta'ah easy and stay away from haram easy. It is not. It is hard. And that's why the reward is astonishing, the abundance of Jannah. And the punishment is unbearable. No one can bear the punishment of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. So my dear respected brothers and sisters, my message to you today and to myself, stay away from haram at all cost. It's your responsibility. No one sees you except Allah. And no one is going to hold you accountable except Allah. And the consequences are heavy. It's beyond your imagination. Things that happens to you all day, all night, hurting things, problems with your kids. Abdullah ibn Umar used to say, I recognize my sins in the behavior of my horse. When my horse starts disobeying you, I think what wrong what I did. So our car breaks. We get a ticket on the whole highway. We do this. Before you start blaming others, think what wrong you've done, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making it harder for you. Think about what you've done. ما أصابكم من مصيبة فبما كسبت أيديكم. It's something you've done. It's Quran. اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا وعافنا واعف عنا واقبلنا. ربنا اجبرنا وانصرنا واسترنا وقربنا وثبتنا. ربنا ثقل موازيننا وحقق إيماننا وارفع درجاتنا ونور وجوهنا. ربنا أدخلنا الجنة وأجرنا من النار. أحسن عاقبتنا في الأمور كلها وأجرنا من خزي الدنيا وعذاب الآخرة. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. فستذكرون ما أقول لكم وأفوض أمري إلى الله. إن الله بصير بالعباد. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
استووا. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. ألهاكم التكاثر حتى زرتم المقابر. كلا سوف تعلمون ثم كلا سوف تعلمون. كلا لو تعلمون علم اليقين لترون الجحيم ثم لترونها عين اليقين ثم لتسألن يومئذ عن النعيم. الله الله لمن حمده.
الله أكبر.
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. جمعة مباركة وتقبل الله منكم. And as usual, so please do not forget to donate for the mosque on the way out, inshallah. And tomorrow, inshallah, we will convene our weekly halaqat, and that on the every Saturday, inshallah, starting tomorrow with our dear Imam Shuaib, inshallah. And similarly, as Ustad and Sheikh Sharif spoke about, who will discuss some reflections on the post-Ramadan era, inshallah, for the Muslim life. And for next Saturday, June 11th, inshallah. Oh, at 8:30. Thank you so much. I always miss them, and that's what I looked at. So tomorrow at 8:30 or after Maghrib, basically, inshallah. And for June 11th, which is next Saturday, inshallah, we're having a cultural day, a Palestinian day, inshallah, ya Rab. We will have a lot of activities that starting at 5 p.m. inshallah at the parking here. So everyone is welcomed, inshallah. جزاكم الله خير وتقبل الله منكم.